It's been a roller coaster ride where I'm helping with missions, then I'm dealing with challenges with the airplane. You cannot afford to miss this double blessing for this week's report. Hey guys, good morning and welcome to the Philippines. We're off to a very early start this morning. Just in case someone needs my help today and I have to go, I'm doing my best to get my report out. It's approximately 6:46 a.m. Saturday morning. So happy Sabbath to you. Magandang Sabado po sa inyo lahat. Shout out to everybody. And if it's your first time here, give a favor, follow, definitely subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up with all the amazing awesome updates that God continues to give on this platform. If it's your first time seeing me, my name is Davin Bennett and I'm a missionary pilot here in the Philippines. I have a double lineup for you. As you can see, the caption for this week is double blessings, all right? And blessings come in disguise, right? So when we say double blessing, we mean double blessing. So there was a roller coaster ride this week, up and down, fluctuation, etc. If you are watching from my personal account, meaning you've sent me a friend request on Facebook, I'm not able to flash your message on the screen, but I'm monitoring it on another device. Now is the time, guys. Share the content with your family and friends. Invite somebody, let them know. Flying by Faith is live right now. He's about to share 2 weeks of flying missions in one report. So we're going to be here for a while. In case you cannot last the entire feed, it's okay. We will have a Q&A session at the end. You can post your questions early. We're going to address them at the end of the feed. And definitely, you have to stay tuned for that. If you watch the delay broadcast and you have any questions or concern or anything that you would like to share with us, my email address is right there on the screen. You can reach out to me and I'm more than happy to respond to you via email. If for any reason you would want to quickly get to the point of how can you partner with this amazing efforts for the Filipino people, go check out my websites. There's tons of options there of how you can make a donation to it. For those who are in Canada and the US, we do facilitate tax deductible receipts. So, yes, we are registered. We're 501c3, and we're more than happy to let you know how you can partner with us and get your tax deductible receipt for those who have that option or is asking about that option. That being said, to tell you a little about the lineup today, we've been doing some missions for the last 2 weeks. So this is a 2 week report in one. We've been busy with flying missions. A lot of them had me away from home couple of days, going the extra mile. One in particular, I ended up flying 7 hours within a day. Yep, six and a half, almost seven within a day, covering over 700 miles across the Philippines from the uppermost north all the way to the southern part of the Philippines. And so you have to stay tuned for that. I got an opportunity to be in Basco again. Always a blessing to be in Batanes. So all these stories and more coming up lined up for you. We don't have any announcement much, but the only thing I'd like to share for you when it comes to announcement is that we're still praying for a drum of oil, so we haven't gotten donation towards that as yet, I believe. We're still praying for a drum of oil. I'm at the bottom of the drum right now, so we're praying for a drum of oil. The donor who has been donating for the nose fork upgrade. He's doing an amazing job from his company where they're sending in so many different checks. We're almost so close to that goal right now. So we'll be getting a bigger nose fork. It's gonna lift the airplane to get more clearance from the ground. So we're excited for that. We're still looking for some avionics help to finish the avionics upgrade on the airplane. Come September or August, my weight and balance will expire in September. So by August, I need to get the airplane weighed again and recertified with its weight and balance. So that's one thing coming up. I am now renewing my license because it will expire the end of May. So I am in the process of renewing my pilot's license. So keep that in prayers. There's some challenges already with the renewal process. And so I just wanted to share those updates with you. We're always looking for new help. If you're missionary minded, a flight nurse, or so on, definitely reach out to me and we can see how best we can work together for the sake of helping people here in the Philippines. Let's go over to our photos where we'll start our report. Once again, good morning and welcome to you. All right, so for this week, we're gonna pick up here. I'm gonna see if I can make this photo nice for you guys. Yes. So we had a medivac here. Let me grab my notes. I'm getting old, guys. Now I have to use notes. Let's see. This mission is to Cuyo Island. Cuyo Island. So what you're looking at is Mindoro. I'm over Mindoro. At this point, I would have been about 7,500 feet no, yes, 7,500 because when I go to Cuyo, I fly a bit closer to the terrains of Mindoro. It's nice to see it. I took a photo because they've been getting some rain over these mountains, so you can see how green and nice it is with the vegetation. But by the time we hit the dry season, people just start burning these mountains. So there's a lot of burning going on. I don't know if they do it for agricultural purposes or whatnot, but whenever I get to see Mindoro, I'm happy because there's times I come over here and the winds are so strong. Last year, December, it is crossing this island that I the plane took me for a ride with some really severe strong winds up to 30 knots blowing at me trying to kill me. So Mindoro is one of those places I really it's so treacherous over there. It's yeah, it's the winds are not nice over Mindoro. I got to Cuyo to pick up the patient here, and that was definitely a huge blessing to be able to go here. They've extended the runway a bit, so that helps a lot. Not only that, I have a video of the landing there in Cuyo, and that's what the weather looks like after I took off. So I'm going into Puerto and I'm just sandwiched between stuff. So you have stuff to the right, I had some massive buildups, but this is my route. And then overhead towards the mountainous side of Puerto Princesa, Palawan, is where you had some severe buildups. And fortunately, the wind was pushing things away from the airport, so I had no issues landing there to get the mission done. I want to share with you a video of the approach going into Puerto, and going into um, Cuyo Island, and I'm gonna walk you through that. Before I share it, Let's see, it's a 2 minute video, but I'm gonna shorten it a bit to tell you, just walk you through this and share with you some things that I'm learning with the airplane, basically. All right, so I hope you can see that this video. So one time I was coming in and honestly I almost got knocked out on this approach. So I've learned my lesson that I'll never do that again. There is a hill where the wind swirls. So when I'm going into Kuyo now, one of the things I look for is, I hope you can see my cursor. There is let me see if I can make some adjustment to, oops, not cool. Ay, ay, ay. My screen just got shifted around, guys. Sorry. Are you still able to see it? Something just got pinched. Okay. All right. So here, this is the shoreline. Okay. And the airport is right underneath me here. So I'm about to fly overhead. Let me play the video here. I'm about to fly overhead, and I always watch this. Here's the hill. This right here almost killed me one time. The wind swirled so strong that the plane got lifted up like that, and my head actually hit the roof. My shades was on top of my head because it wasn't. I didn't need it at the time, so I had it on top. And unfortunately, when I hit the roof, a part of my shade cut over my head. I remember I asked the nurse when I landed, "Am I bleeding?" She said, "Cop, yes, you're bleeding." So, it's one of those things where I learned my lesson the hard way. I almost paid for it, and like I just never saw it coming. So whenever I fly overhead from that point onwards, I don't um I don't go directly over this hill. If the winds are strong, I stay over the water the entire time. And that's just a little info for those who are aspiring missionary pilots. So overhead, I just chop the power at this point. So I cut the power. And basically, what I'm doing is I'm getting ready for my commercial flight training. And they have what you call power off 180, where you have to be able to cut the power overhead the airstrip or airport and be able to land. So you really have to calculate everything, your depth perception, you're descending, you're turning, you're deciding when you're gonna put in your flaps, you're doing your final checklist to get in there. One of the dangers of going into this airstrip is when the winds are picking up like this, it's kite season. So I notice a lot of the kites are on the final approach. That's why I don't like to do the left downwind on the other side. Okay. So as you can see, I'm keeping it tight. I'm still in a turn at this point, by the way. Still turning, still turning, still turning to line up with that runway. And then look, that's where level the wings, wait for it. There's the flare. Wait, there's the touchdown. All right. And it's just one of those things where coming up, I've put 800 hours on this airplane now. So at this point, the airplane and I, we're becoming one. I know how much ton of power to put in there, how to bank it and come in. And some people might say, "Oh, why are you doing that? Why don't you just fly a long, nice, so-called stabilized approach?" I don't want to always think that I need to have a long final established to come in, because there's times when you have weather contending with, sometimes the visibility is less and you have to get in there. And then there's another mission that I did, it will be coming up on my report. You have no choice because of the mountainous terrain. The strip is down in a valley. So when you come in, you're within a quarter mile doing that pattern from downwind base into final, and you have to do all of that while descending. You do a long final, you're gonna be hitting a house at the end, some hills, some terrain, and it's rising and it's pretty quick. So it's just good practice that wherever it's flat, I still try to practice that tight turn to get in there, because if I don't, when I have to do it, I'm gonna be rusty on the approach. So after we got in, this is we deboard the patient. The patient is a 12-year-old kid, I believe. Yes, 12 years old. Apparently, he was playing with his playmates and he happened to bite his tongue. So he bit his tongue while playing, and the injury was so bad that they sutured, they stitched his tongue, but then the stitches came loose. And after the stitches came loose, he basically it got infected. And I remember when I boarded him and everything, there was a stench in the airplane for the entire time, and you could tell there's a wound that is infected at this point. So we had to really be um mindful of that. A lot of people want to be missionary pilot, and I always say to them, being a missionary pilot, it's not as fun and glamorous as you think, because you have to fly this airplane and deal with that odor for the entire time. It's not like a nice big Kodiak or something, or a King Air where you can put a curtain, or a Challenger 300 where you actually close the door and you're in the cockpit and whatever is happening in the back. It's a small little Cessna 182 5-seater, 4-seater, 5-seater airplane. So when an odor comes in and you close that door and that window, even though the vents are open and air is coming through trying to circulate, it's still trapped on the inside. The worst odor I've dealt with, two of them, a slightly decomposed patient from last year. It was a girl who she got hit by a car, a student from Bungao. She got hit, partially decomposed, and I had her for about a 2-hour flight to get her body home for closure with the family. And in the pandemic, I had a gentleman who was wearing diaper, who he pooped in his diaper 30 minutes before landing. And I mean, that odor just sat in that airplane for half an hour. It sat there for 2 hours. And as a missionary pilot, you have to remember, this is not the airlines. It's not as glamorous as you people think it is. You have to budget your breath, learn how to breathe, and always remember, you cannot show a face or any sign of disgust or discomfort. You can't open the window to blast the odor out. You have to sit there and remember that as a missionary pilot, it's not about you and your comfort zone. It's solely about serving the people. So we got him in there. We got the patient taken care of, rather, so that he could get. Actually, correction. I just looked. This is not the boy, 12-year-old with that injury with his tongue. Man, guys, my report is all over the place. It's actually an older gentleman who broke his arm. He was in a lot of pain. The arm is strapped. I just paid attention to the video. He had broken his arm. So in that area where he's from in Cuyo, clearly they don't have the resources to maybe do a surgery, to do a pin implant, or to try and rectify that injury. He's a senior gentleman, so that's an injury that they're not able to handle, so they ask us to transport him out. He was in a lot of pain, and if you put him on a ship, it's going to take about 16 hours, I was told, on the boat to cover this same distance that I do in 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I do it in an hour and 20 minutes. The boat does it in 16 hours. So for those who might be wondering, why are these people coming on the airplane? It's because the only other option is the boat, and the boat is a 16-hour ride. And if you have an injury at a certain time and the boat is already left, then you're gonna have to stay in the hospital, suffer some more, be at pain, discomfort, fighting for your life, waiting for the next schedule for the boat. There are times, as you can see, a lot of these patients are lying down. How would you accommodate someone like this on the boat laying down? They're gonna have to be in a lot of discomfort and pain. That boat rocks and it does different things. So even on the airplane, sometimes they're in excruciating pain Fortunately, the flight is very short, and they're able to endure that hour and a half max in order to get going. I got stuck there because of weather. We had some weather, so I couldn't fly back to base that day. And this is what early morning looked like. Awesome choppers getting ready to go. And there's the bird there, ready to head back to base finally after getting that mission done. I'm gonna transition you guys back to some video, photos rather. Okay. So that's just the weather. I got back to base there, and I've been praying for some fuel, guys. I'm running out of fuel. I actually ran out of fuel this week. Not flying, so let me correct that. But I didn't have any more fuel at base, and consequently, I was not able to. Um, the company or the supplier, every time I message them for updates, they still don't have fuel. I was able to go across a 3 hour drive, and I was able to use my vehicle and secure two drums. So I do have two drums right now, which is enough to do at least two missions. And I'm still hoping that the company or the supplier who usually supplies me, they do free shipping. When I order at least five drums, shipping is free, but right now they don't have any supply, so I'm just waiting for them to be able to help me to have some supplies. It's that time of the year, guys. That time of the year. I actually went over to my school, printed a whole ton of stuff. So that's my logbook, passport, medical, application, radio license, NBI clearance, radio license, like packed with paperwork because that it's that time of the year where I need to renew my license. Renewal is I paid so far. For the fee, I paid about $10 so far. The rest is I'm gonna have whenever they assign me an examiner. I'm gonna have to pay the fee for him. If they're coming overnight, then I'm gonna have to do full accommodation and a plane ticket, depending on where the check ride is gonna be. I'm coded on Wednesday, so when I went into Manila to work on my renewal, I didn't want to drive around because I'm coded and it's a lot of traffic and stuff. So there's a little new thing that I do. There's a motorcycle taxi. They charge a lot less than if you were to take commute or whatever. So convenient. You're not dealing with the crazy traffic, and that's the aviation authority. It's funny how I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find this person, but apparently these people just got their yeah, she just got her license, so she's just making a vlog. So anyway, that's the aviation authority, and that's me walking between offices on a hot, scorching. I mean, guys, right now the heat in the Philippines, it's on. It's on. And when I say it's on, I mean the heat is intense, guys. It's so intense. But it is what it is, right? That's what it takes to keep going. So I have to do this. I have no choice. So I had a little bit of free time and I rushed out to make sure that I can get some paperwork done. Want to introduce you to a new face to the channel and to the ministry. This is Nurse Jin. Nurse Jin is a Seventh Day Adventist lady who is my reserve for now. She's on the reserve side due to her commitment to her job and her family. She's not able to come full time as yet. But if ever she has some free time, which in the Easter holiday, she did have some free time and she was able to help me with that Medivac flight. So we're getting the plane ready, we're heading out. It's the Easter holiday, and she was able to come. It had rained the night before, and so here we are in a place called Culion. I haven't been in there in a while. Culion is an airstrip located in the middle of that little part of Palawan, close to Busuanga area. The airport is in a valley, literally surrounded by rising terrain. It's one of those places where if I don't pay attention to the weight and the temperature of the day and the winds and stuff, I can get in a lot of trouble real quick getting out of this airstrip. It's easy to get in, but it's very difficult to get out if you're really heavy and it's hot. So it's one of those places where um the airplane engine has 800 hours on it now, and I don't know. Some people say it can go up to 2,000, 2,500. You know, we'll see how far it takes us. But once we start coming towards a point where we need to put a new engine on the airplane, I'm leaning towards an upgrade. They call it a P-Punk upgrade. It's where you get an additional 10 or so more horsepower. And the blessings of that is that you get off the ground a lot quicker. So you use a lot less runway. You don't notice much in cruise with your true airspeed increasing drastically, whatnot. But on the ground, you have a lot more power to use a lot less runway to get off the ground, and your climb performance is really way better than what it is now. It's the cheapest one. So what they do in summary is they take the cylinders from an 520 and they put it on an 0470. You have no idea what that means. So basically, there's a bigger engine that you would find more on a Cessna 206 or a six-seater Cessna 206. The engine cylinder from that, the cylinders from that six-seater, you can put it on the Cessna 182 engine. So engine of the 182 has a certain size. The one on the six-seater has another size. The one on the six-seater gives a 300 horsepower. The one on this one is 230. So what you're doing is you're combining the forces together and you get this floodgate of power, which is about 10 more horsepower to it. So anyway, it's called a P-Punk upgrade. And it's not only two, I think, is in the Philippines. One of the pilot who owns one up in Florida, a good friend of mine, he flies for Cebu Pacific. Cap, if you're watching this, shout out to you. He inspired me to want to get that upgrade. So Nurse Jin and I went down to Culion, and this is where we picked up the little boy who had the injury where he bit his tongue while playing. And as a dad, I did share the post with you. This hits home, guys. I mean, imagine your son is playing, he gets an injury that he has to go to another island in order to get medical care. That's just one of the harsh reality of the locals who live in these areas, so to speak. Something happens and where they are located, they just don't have the resources to be able to help. Now, Nurse Jin has been in contact with us now since last year, going through different screening and online talk and conversation. We've met in person at one point last year when we went to her church. So this was her very first mission to go with me, and she was like, "Oh, it's so easy." However, she has motion sickness, so she had something she was smelling to help with the motion sickness because it's a little bumpy at one point. So it was just nice to see that she's very comfortable with the contacts. She knows what she's doing. Um, Whenever you guys have time, put it in the comment section. You can ask her age, but she's a veteran nurse, tons of experience, and it paid off. Like when I watched her at where I was like, yeah, you can tell she's been a nurse for a very, very, very long time. And so that was good to have. As again, she's not with me full time, but if ever she has a day off and she's free, the plan is that as often as she can, she'll come and be able to help with some of these missions. This is on the approach going in to drop the patient off. He has a nice window view. Like he said that this 12-year-old boy, he wanted to sit upright in the airplane. And I mean, as he was sitting there, I kept looking and just checking on him, and he was just locked to that window seat. When I fly commercially, I always want the window seat. I do everything to sit at the window. And I'm like a little kid, even though I have the window seat flying. Whenever I'm on a commercial flight, I don't want to. The aisle seat is the worst, especially here in the Philippines, because I have broad shoulders, and so every time someone pass, I mean, flight attendant, the shop, the cart, serving cart, everything that moves in that aisle keeps hitting. So I sit like this as long as I can because whenever I just sit, the aisle seat for me is the worst. However, the little boy sat there on the window seat the entire flight, and he was just really enjoying himself while he was able to sit there enjoying the window seat for an hour and a half flight. We got there in the Puerto, it's just a little selfie. We got the mission done. Weather was awesome, so we flew back to base the same time. This is coming in over Calatagan. So for those of you expats and tourists alike who wants to definitely enjoy yourself in these places, go check out Calatagan. They got a lot of resorts and beaches. So enjoy yourself. Shout out to you if you're ever in any of these areas and you see me coming over. You can wave. Got to base, park the plane, and then that's when I can say mission accomplished. Guys, I never take coming back to base for granted because, as you know, 2 years ago, my missionary pilot brother with his flight nurse had a patient and relative on board his yellow bumblebee flying from Balabac to Palawan, and up to this day still haven't found his body, still haven't found the helicopter. So for me and the family and others around the world, they're still missing. And prior to that, I just never took for granted being able to come back to base. This is when I say mission is accomplished, when I park the plane in the same spot that I took it from to go fly a mission or two. We had a nice little celebratory lunch. We did pop a bottle of champagne, and it's just our little traditional stuff. Whenever we do all these little victories, so she successfully transported her first patient. It took us about 5.8 hours, full, almost 6 hours of flight time to get the mission done. And we wanted to show our appreciation to her for coming to help with the mission. The next day, I went back out, prepped the plane, did some work on it so that I can get it going again. I think Kosea was with me. Yeah, he was hanging out with me as we worked on the airplane together. So that was awesome to have him, um, you know, hold tools, ride his bike, and make a mistrip every so often. So we had finished up in the evening. As you can see, the light is on over the hangar. So we had to definitely prep the plane. I want to show you a video of what the skies look like on that flight. Maybe that's why my nurse Jin was a little bit nauseous on the flight because of these clouds. When you're above them, it's fine, but when you're underneath, it's pretty bumpy. So I try to be on top. So I was about 8,500 feet going to Puerto. So this is my iPad. So thanks again to my donor who donated last year so that I can have myself a brand new iPad. It's the latest model iPad. And see, Culion airstrip going to Puerto. I have 66 miles left. I'm a little bit off track, and that's just because I'm trying to avoid this little weather here. Um, Estimate time of arrival 9:23 in the morning. Now, something I want to point out to you guys is you see this 3G, guys. I'm at 9,500 feet, okay, and I'm about 20 miles north of San Vicente, and I have 3G internet. That is why I'm able to draw the weather. So this is a poor man's onboard weather app. What? How am I able to do this? Smart. Shout out to Smart, guys. I'm using Smart SIM card. Put it in the iPad because the iPad is mobile friendly. So I put the SIM card of Smart. I put about 50 gigabyte of data, and it never expires, so it will be there forever until I finished it up. And once I go flying, I'm able to depict the weather. So this is showing me that heavy rain, you would not want to fly into this at all. The blue, you'll see that outside, right? So that's what it's depicted, moisture. Okay. And if it's just blue, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be thrown here and there a little bit, pick up some rain. But at 8,500 feet, if I stay to the right, to the left had some massive buildups. That's what was being depicted. The good thing I like is if for any reason I lose the data, like meaning no signal for the SIM card or the data is not working, it will remove the weather that it drew. So that will get removed from the screen, and I'll get a message down below that says no data. So it won't keep it there and give me a false sense of fake weather that's 5 hours late or 2 hours late, whatever. No, it doesn't depict old weather. So whatever it's showing, that's what's happening right there and then. So shout out to Smart. It's the only network that is that reliable at that altitude. And I was really amazed by that. So there's our little hero. I did write a story about it. A lot of you read it, said it brought tears to your eyes. Because what happened is I watched this father and his son bonding with each other. So that's the dad right there getting his stuff before he go and join his son. And this is Nurse Jin doing the handoff and the endorsement to the receiving nurse. There are EMT who will take the patient to the hospital. Then, because of the injury on his tongue, the dad, I went around to the side. So after I was done taking this video, I went to just say goodbye to them. And the dad was mixing some liquid food to give to the son. They had a big smile on their face. They were so grateful. And I wish you guys were there in that moment to see the joy on their faces, knowing that they got the help that they needed. This is coming into Puerto Princesa. Where is this? I'm getting old, guys. Okay, yeah, this is coming into base because that's Mount Batulao, I believe. I want to walk you through this landing so you guys can have a little idea of what it's like. I'm gonna fast forward the clip a little bit. It's getting pretty hazy here these days coming in to land this airplane, guys. It's just one of those things that we have to contend with. For flying, the visibility is just dropping. Sometimes you have this really haze layer. So I have to make sure I communicate with base to ensure that I can see to land basically. Because if I don't do that, I'm gonna find myself in a lot of trouble. This was the next mission that I want to get into is Saturday, last week Saturday. That's why I did not get to do my report last week because I had a critical patient who it's an Ivatan. So you guys know that flying missions to Batanes is it is my favorite place to fly missions. So I got a message couple days out that basically they are asking me to take their loved one home before something happens. It's missions I struggled to do before, but now I know the value of it. I've been helping the Ivatans now for a couple of years, about 4 years to be exact. So 4 years ago, 2021, I met these people and I started having this special bond with them. And that's when I started doing these missions. And a lot of them, it's always Manila going to Basco. It's a 3.5 hour flight one way. When I pick them up to when I drop them off, it's 45 minutes to get to them. So during the full, it's about 4 hours, give or take 4 hours to get them home, right? And I have a time limit. So now that I'm relocated all the way in Batangas, round trip, you're looking at about 8 hours. I cannot fly that within a day. So one of the arrangement whenever I go to Batanes is that the family always provide me with food and accommodation. Um, and so when I picked up this patient, It's a mom, and apparently her daughter follows me. This is Bulacan. I have an audio clip, so let's go outside the studio and take in a little bit of this 30-second clip. So, good morning, happy Sabbath from Lauderdale Airport. I was asked to be the speaker at church today, but instead of going to church, I'm flying a mission here to help this patient to get back home. So, it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. And I'm so glad Jesus wrote those words because he wrote it for people like me. Yeah, man. So it's lawful to do good on the Sabbath. Many of you might be wondering, why am I talking about that? Believe it or not, in our organization as a church, there are a lot of our members, they struggle to do good on the Sabbath because they feel like it's a ritual and legalistic to not, I do get criticism of flying this airplane on Saturdays. Some agree, some don't. And ever so often they show up in the comment section. They send me private messages. So I honestly had to study for myself. I had to go to the Bible and study for myself to figure out, is it okay, and am I a conflict to my belief if I go fire up this airplane on a Saturday? A lot of our contacts, they know we're Seventh Day Adventists. They know that we try to our best to get rest and spend time with family and our brethren on Saturday or Sabbath. But they also know that if someone's life is in jeopardy, we are perfectly okay to cancel. Like a lot of us mission pilots, we are asked to be the speaker on Sabbath, and we're perfectly okay to cancel that. I've had times where I am the scheduled speaker and I get to the church, and there was one time I had to preach in the morning so that I could go. Yeah, I had to switch up the schedule for the preaching in order to get it done. There's times where I pull up to the church, and by the time I pull up to the church, my phone rings. It's a medevac. I have to go. I just got to the entrance and I had to make a U-turn. There's times where I'm invited and I say yes, and then last minute, sorry, I can't make it anymore. And it was the same with this. They were thinking that I would get there in time for church, but I didn't. By the time I get there, church would be ending. The Adventist church here in Batanes, they invited me to be the speaker for the hour of worship. And I said, I'm sorry, I cannot be the speaker because based on the time when I'm going to arrive with the patient, you're going to be finishing up with church already. So I remember we did have a conversation with the relative of this patient, and she was sharing with me that she was so surprised that I was willing to do the flight on a Saturday, because she said, I know that you're a Seventh-day Adventist and you guys don't really fly on Saturday if you don't have to. So she was not expecting that we would have helped her mom on a Sabbath. And the reason why it fell on a Sabbath is because the patient has an illness and they need to do some preparation to get her ready for a 3-hour flight. So based on the observation that she's going to go through and the evaluation for a couple of days, she won't be clear to fly until Saturday onward. Now, this is someone who wants to go home before it's too late. And I've had those missions, same island, same scenario, same kind of illness, where yeah, they want to get home before, they don't want to get home when it's like too late. And so it fell on a Saturday when she will be clear to go, and they asked me, are you okay to transport her on it? I said it's perfectly fine with me, because in my head I'm convicted it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. So shout out to you Adventists who give me a hard time doing these missions on Saturday. I don't hold anything against you, but if you want to know from the Bible and Spirit of Prophecy why I do what I do, I actually have a quote that was written in the book Last Day Events. If you want to know that quote, share. Let me know in the comment section. I can share that with you. It's powerful, guys. If I ever do this again on a Saturday, I'm gonna bring that quote and share it with you. My book is downstairs. I'm not able to grab it now. But yeah, so on board, this is what we're dealing with. You see that nice tank, and I had to strap it up beside me. Shout out to Nurse who came with me. Nurse, good morning. Shout out to you. She was the accompanying nurse. She's an Ivatan as well. Did an amazing job with the patient. The watcher, who is the daughter of the patient, she was so stretched and tired. She just slept for most of the flight going up to Batanes. Shout out to you, Paul. Good morning. I captured some little scenery for you guys. This is the end of Lausanne, the northern end of Lausanne. When I cross this threshold, I'm gonna lose signal. So this is the last opportunity that I have where land is concerned. The other places there are lands throughout, but there's no strip there. It's just beach. But that's where I would put it down if I have any emergency. I would rather be on a beach than in the middle of the ocean, trying to survive until search and rescue comes. So I always take a picture on the borders of Lausanne. This is Sabtang Island on the approach into Batanes. The winds were not as bad this time around. Was They were nice enough to me. So I captured this Sabtang Island, a beam Sabtang about 2,500 feet and descending. Shout out to these guys. They're awesome and amazing. They came and they escorted me to my accommodation. She shared a little bit with me. Cap, thank you so much. I am a follower, so I always get the updates. So hey, morning to you. Shout out. God bless you guys. Dios mamajes for taking the time out to provide me with food and accommodation. They put me in Shane Dells, and they didn't know. Shane Dells is the first place I stayed when after the pandemic was over and I got a chance to visit Batanes and spend some time there, about a couple days, which I didn't get to enjoy the so-called vacation because they asked me to fly 2 missions at the time. And the rest of the time when I could go enjoy the island, it was rainy and strong winds. So I was stuck in Shane Dells for my vacation, supposedly. So Shandales has a special place in my heart. They had given me free accommodation over there. See, Ate, the daughter of the owner, she makes the best fried. Um, what's that chips called? Oh my word, I'm forgetting my stuff. It's ube chips. Yes, ube chips. Her ube chips is the best. I'm telling you right now, that thing is awesome. This is my view, guys. Sabbath afternoon, coming into the evening. I went out here, I sat there, and they brought me dinner, and I just took in this beautiful sunset over the horizon. My camera couldn't do justice. And as I sat there, people were swimming from the boat to the shoreline, enjoying themselves. I just sat there reflecting on my life and the opportunity to fly and help the Ivatan people. To my right is the lighthouse. So the lighthouse is to my right, and I think I have some more video clips that I want to share with you guys. So it was just an awesome mission. I didn't get to go to church. I was so beat after I got in. I was knocked out for a couple hours. Um, this is a video. Some of you are always wondering, how do we get the patients off the airplane? That's how we do it. We pull them through, and as they're coming out, if they're short enough, they come straight through the door. If they're too long, then we do it over the wing strut, right? And so, yep, mission accomplished. The patient is safely transported. The next morning, so Sunday morning, which is this Sunday morning, I went up and I had my worship, guys. I had my worship. Let me play the audio clip for you. So this is on top of Shane Dells. They have a pool up there. Let's take in this audio. That's the lighthouse. Look at that view, guys. Beautiful. Beautiful. The rooster screaming at you. Um, so my survival bag was a little bit stretched on this trip. I don't know, maybe I was rushing and I was underpacked, but no, I know what happened. Guys, it's steamingly hot right now in the Philippines. And Filipino would say, my goodness, grabe ang init, or napudot. in Ilocano. It's hot, guys. And I kid you not, I'm changing shirt like there's no tomorrow, like just to pre-flight the plane, get everything, being outside. By the time I get in, I sweat profusely. So I had to budget my clothes, and so I had to take off that because Filipinos, right, guys? If you let the sweat dry in your clothes, you're gonna get sick, diba? Oh, so southbound, and I'm gonna tell you guys what happened actually. After I filled out my flight plan, the craziest thing happened, and I had to go on another long stretch. So I'm budgeting my clothes. It's so hot. That's what I was saying in that clip. It's just piercingly hot, and I just had to be in my sandal to cool off. Now you couldn't do this commercially, and you wouldn't need to because if you fly as a commercial pilot, you have AC. So I had to hang my shirt so that I don't soak the thing in sweat, and then put the other one on the dash. I don't have a video, but I had to put the other one on top of the dash so that it can dry because it's just steamingly hot. Before we pick up that clip, I want to show you guys some photos here again. Beautiful. That's the nightfall there in Bosco. My camera couldn't do justice. I had the opportunity to go see the patient in person and see how she's doing and do the mano, just to bless her and the relatives and some of her friends. And guys, when I sat there in the hospital looking at the patient and they were when I visited, um her friends from her high school, I believe. So these were schoolmates that came. She could talk. She was exercising her hand there. And as I sat there, I started thinking to myself that imagine she didn't make it and they asked me to bring her remains back home for closure, right? It wouldn't be the same as what I saw in the hospital because it would have been a one-sided conversation where she's already in a coffin and her friends from high school and different places, they come to say their goodbye. But she cannot respond, right? But when I was in the hospital room, it dawned on me that as much as the flight didn't help to save her life, it gave her closure in a way that anybody would rather have it that way. I'm back home, even though I'm in a hospital. She's able to see her friends and her family. And I haven't gotten any news that she didn't make it. So I shared a story with her daughter. I said, I brought her in the pandemic. I picked up a 93-year-old gentleman. And I honestly thought he was going to die on the airplane. He was not doing so well. The doctors couldn't help him and they gave up on him. And the family asked me if I can fly him home before he dies in the hospital. That was his dying wish. Take me home before I die. 93-year-old guys. And I brought him home and his body was doing a lot of stuff. I remember I panicked a little bit on the approach because he was like he's going into a cardiac arrest or something. And I had to remember, tune everything out, focus, and fly the airplane. So I kept my attention fully forward, never looked back until I touched down on the airstrip. A week or two later, I heard from my contact. She's the my contact said, "Copy, you remember the 90-something-year-old man that you brought home that was so sick and the doctor gave up? Well, guess what? He is back to his health restored. He's back to even farming. Yeah, they said he's going to his field and he's doing farming again." I said, "What?" So, guys, you just never know. And I share that with the relatives. I said, "You never know." So, when I saw her exercising, I said, "She's getting ready to open that door and walk out of this hospital." So, for me as a mission pilot, I don't, even when the doctors give up on these relatives and they ask us to come and do the flight, there's time their GCS is low, they're very unstable and I'm like, why are we doing this mission? We're doing it because the family wants to continue the fight for their relatives' life. And when they still have hope, we have the same hope and we go in and we partner. It might not mean anything much to some of you guys because I've had some of my followers say to me, don't bring cadavers home. Why are you flying these hopeless cases? Why don't you reserve the time on the engine and your fuel and oil and all these things? Why not reserve your resources for people who actually have a better fighting chance? And I don't. To me, that's a little bit of just ignorance on the part of some people. They don't know what relatives are dealing with. And when you're not in the situation, it's easy to say things like that. Cap, don't waste your time and your resources helping hopeless cases. Cap, they're already dead. Why take the body so far across the Philippines? And people say these things. I don't beef with them. I don't get mad at them. I just see it as you don't know what these people are going through. You can't relate. And so it's always easy to preach and say things when you're not the one in the situation. On my walk from the hospital, I ran into a bunch of these guys. So shout out, they took a selfie. This guy was very funny. I don't remember his name, but he was the funniest of all. He took a group selfie and then he wanted an individual one with me. And they were like, I saw that all. And I was walking in the dark and they pulled me over. Cop, how are you? Musta? Cop, we're a huge fan. We follow you, man. We follow you. So, guys, if you're seeing this, shout out Dios Mama His. Thank you for the follow. This is Shane Dell, the owner of Shane Dell's. They're awesome and amazing. They're always asking me, how was the flight? How was the weather? Are you going back home now? See you again soon, Cap. Sometimes I go there, they give me free refreshment. I get free stuff. Like Cap, you do such a wonderful job in helping our Ivatan people. This drink is on the house. This ube chips is on the house. And I appreciate those little gestures of kindness. I really appreciate it. Dios Mama. Yes. So if you're ever there, go to Shane Dell's. Check them out. They're awesome and amazing, and I love their facility very much. Shout out to I think this is a relative of the patient I transported to Basco. He picked me up and he dropped me off. So shout out to you, pare. Salamat po. When he came, he was like, I'm sorry I'm late. I said, no, no, it's okay. I'm still finishing up breakfast. And then he took me to the airport. These are the guys in the tower. So shout out to all the air traffic controller there in Bosco Tower. Some of them are new. This guy is the most seasoned. He's the senior who took over after the chief air traffic controller retired. He took over. He's gonna be reassigned somewhere else. So these are the young people that's gonna be taking care of me. She was on the radio when we were coming in. So they're fairly new. Pray for them as they journey into making sure they keep the skies safe with getting pilots and planes in and out of Basco. So good morning, guys. Shout out. So here's what happened, guys. I was in the tower filing a flight plan to go home back to base when my phone rang and it's Nurse Nanette. Right now, I can tell you, I'm doing this report, I'm monitoring my phone. If ever I see Nurse Nanette, I have to close this feed. I mean, if I see Nurse Nanette calling me, I already know everything is coordinated. It's a go. Like weather is good, time is good, it's a go. So I was there filing my flight plan and my phone rang. It's Nurse Nanette. I didn't answer it yet. I looked at these guys in the air traffic in the tower. I said, guys, I have to change my call sign. And I remember he asked me, he said, Cop, why? I said, because you see this number calling me? This is a confirmed medevac right here. And he's like, okay. So I picked it up. Hi, Captain. Can we have medevac today? I said, we sure can. Definitely, we can have medevac today. And so, as a result of accepting that mission, now I'm gonna go from Palau, from Basco. I'll fly about 4 miles south, 4 hours south to base. I'm gonna refuel, grab some survival gear, and then go pick up the patient, which is a little under 2 hours, an hour and 40 minutes later. I'm gonna pick up the patient, and in an hour and a half, take that patient to Puerto Princesa. It's gonna take about 6 hours. Yeah, 6.4 hours to get that mission done. Yep, 6.5 hours, guys, in a day. Okay, no autopilot, just hand flying. It's the longest trip I've done within a day. And it happens. This is my second time to do this within a 1 month period of each other. Yeah. So I was able to get that. Now I have a little special treat that I give to Basco all the time, and it's my way of showing all my Everton family how much I appreciate them. So I coordinate it with the tower all the time. So what I do is I take off and then I climb. When I reach the shoreline, I keep climbing and I make a turn and I circle right overhead the tower over the town. By the time I cross back the terrain, I mean the congested area, you need to be at least 1,000 feet. This photo is 2,000 feet because especially when I'm alone and I'm light, I can climb a lot faster compared to when I have the patient, oxygen, a watcher, the nurse, their cargo. So it's my unique departure that I've been doing now, and I will rock the wings. So if you ever spotted me and you see the wings rocking, it's me waving at you every time to say, "Dios Mama Hess, thank you for your hospitality, your kindness, and I'll see you again when I see you guys again." So that's my little departure. Again, when I see Lausanne, I'm happy. I survived the hour and 15 minutes over the ocean. Now I'm overland again with multiple airports as my alternate option in the event that anything happens to me. And this is Apari, for those who might be wondering. This is Apari, the northern side of the Philippines. That's a video after the mission was done, but I mean a photo. We're gonna transition to a video clip as we wrap this mission report up. All right, this was when I got to Cuyo to pick up the patient. It does have an audio clip in it. So I just arrived here in Cuyo, and the ambulance is pulling up, and the winds are picking up. Yeah, man. All right, so the winds were picking up, which is good because I use less runway. It's hot. You want the wind. The wind is something I like for takeoff, especially it's coming down the runway, right on the nose. It helps with performance. It helps with climb to get out of there. This was with the patient on board. We have a nurse who was accompanying the patient and just flying along here. And what was happening, it's my reaction to Cebu Pacific flight was coming in. And his estimate is 3 minutes before mine. Okay. 3 minutes before me, Cebu Pacific is supposed to touch down. When I called up, so everything was coordinated, and then I got close enough, I made my radio call and I asked for priority landing because once I'm a medevac, I'm always asking for priority landing, especially when the patients are on oxygen and they're somewhat dealing with certain illness. I don't want to hold to let these Airbus land. So I always ask the tower, priority landing, please. So they gave me priority landing and they told the Airbus, which is Cebu Pacific, they said, expect to hold to give way to the medevac. And it's one more reason why I'm not going to the airline, guys, because yeah, I slowly, but I don't torture them too much. So I'll keep my speed up as long as I can. I'll try to fly the approach as fast as I can, and then I'll do a short approach to get down on the ground. So I'm mindful of the fact that they have fuel, they're working, etc. So I do my best to get them back to their schedule so they can be on the ground. We got the mission done there in Puerto, and I was so beat after 6.5 hours. You guys should see me. Sometimes I look like a drunkard. I'm like, oh man, it's a long day. I can't wait to go find food and just crash. I've slept for hours and hours and hours. I think when I woke up, it's like 8 p.m. It was crazy, you know. But I got the mission done, and this was the next day when I was heading back to base. However, before I got back to base, I had another mission. So I had two missionaries who was gonna tag along with me for the flight. One of them, he's awesome. He's from Finland, and I think this guy naturally has the skills to be a pilot. If he sees this, you let him know. I had a little bit of free time this week, so I want to say thanks to my donors. You know, when you donate, you're not just helping to support the airplane, but you're actually helping to support my rice ministry. Guys, you know, back in the pandemic, I flew a lot of mission with relief goods. I have personalized some for myself. Like I used to haul stuff that the government donated or other agency donated. I had the impression 4 years ago that I would like to give back to the community in a small way, not much. So a lot of you guys will send donation through my website, and it will just be a general donation. I'm not fundraising for anything. In the notes, it will just say we're most needed or general donation, which means I have the freedom to do whatever I want with that donation. So I made a commitment and a covenant with the Lord. I said, Lord, people give me pocket money sometimes. What if I can use a percentage of that pocket money to give back to the Filipino people? I want to give them something that will have meaning and value. So I walked up to this, I had the idea. Filipinos love rice. Like rice is life. Every grain is precious. That's what they say about rice here in the Philippines. And so I said, okay, what if I could take a little of my pocket money and buy rice and give it to Filipino families? I know it will work, right? So the only challenge is where am I gonna find rice for 1,000 pesos? Like Filipinos watching, comment there, leave a comment. Tell me where can you buy a rice, a bag, a sack of rice for no, for 1,000 pesos. It's impossible, right? They when I tell them I am able to get a bag of rice for 1,000 pesos back in those days, they're like, Cap, really? Where did you get that? And I'm talking about brown mixed with white. It's not fully white rice, it's brown rice. The brown is 70 something pesos per kilo. The white is about 35 something, right? So we mix it so they can have fiber and nutrients when they eat that rice. So the story is I walked up to this rice seller and I said to him, Sir, I'm not here to sabotage your business in no shape or form. I'm a missionary. I don't have a lot of support, but I get a little bit of money that people give me, pocket money, and I want to give a portion of it back to the Filipino people. And I said, I only have 1,000 pesos. Can you give me a sack of rice for 1,000 pesos? This is a ministry effort for the Filipino people who are struggling in the pandemic to put food on the table. And the gentleman looked around and he thought about it a little bit and he said, okay. And I mean, he didn't ask me for paperwork or nothing. He trusted me that what I'm telling him is truth. He committed. And I said, okay, sir, are you here every day? He said, no. I said, okay, what if when I come to get supplies, you're not around? What do I do? What do I tell your other workers? He said, here's the receipt. Just show this to them and they will honor the same deal that I'm giving to you. I said, sir, thank you so much. And guys, that little effort for the Filipino people is going strong now for the last 4 years. Some of these families that they've been with me now 2, 3 years. Sometimes I give it away randomly, but I have selected families that I give to all the time. I get feedback, they love it. I remember one family said, Cap, you know what? When we eat your rice, we have more bowel movement. I said, yeah, because I put the unpolished rice in there. That's what's giving you fiber. And the average family, like mom, dad, 3, 4 kids, and these are like young children, they said half sack of it will last them for 2 weeks. So one sack would be for a month. And when a family say half sack lasts for 2 weeks, during that 2 weeks, they eat rice for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and sometime between meals. And it lasts them for 2 weeks. So I'm always praying that if ever I can have partners that can help me to give a family a whole sack. Now, rice price increase over the last 2 years. The rice price has increased, so it's costing me about 1100 pesos, so like 1100 pesos, 1100 there about for a pack of rice. Okay, so it's not $20 like it used to be. It's about $25 per bag now. I'm always praying because if I buy 4 bags, I divide it in halves. So 4 bag will give me 8 half sacks, and I give a family half sack, and that will last them for 2 weeks. Can you imagine if I had enough financial support for this ministry outside of the pocket money? If I had people donating and saying, "Hey, I want to commit to buy 1 bag of rice each month to give to a family," you would only be donating like $25 a month. And your $25 a month will put rice on a Filipino home for the month. 25 bucks, guys. And if you have any Filipino friends, they won't share it in the comment section. They might be too shy to tell you. But if you're from the West and you come to the Philippines, every meal they serve you will have rice. If you don't have rice, you don't have food. So it's just awesome, guys. $25 can feed a family for a month with rice, because rice is everything to them. So I really appreciate the seller for giving me this opportunity to get this rice at this price. There's a petrol, we got some oxygen, and my maleta with my extra clothes, water bottle to refill for the home. And I distribute that. I'm almost done with the distribution. One family moved out. Guys, something amazing happened this week. This family moved out. So when I go there, they're like, "Ah, the family is not here anymore." And I said, "Oh," but then they told me, they said, "We know someone else who is struggling. Can you trust us to give that rice to another family who is struggling to put rice on their table?" I said, "Sure." Yesterday, I got a photo in my private, in my on my page, where the gentleman with the sack of a half sack of rice in front of him, and the message says, "Captain, here is the new recipient of the rice. The other family is in another island. I cannot help them anymore. But this new guy, thanks to the person, they found somebody for me, and he's gonna be getting that rice as often as I distribute it." This is a little bit of an interesting. So, last 2 missions, and we're done with the two double report, double blessings. When I got to the airport, sometimes the ambulance is running late, and there are people who are on the fence. And this is something I want to share with you guys. They would be on the fence. They cannot come in the airport. Bawal talaga. It's not allowed, because they should, they're not allowed to come in unless they're gonna be on the flight. Um, 2 years ago, I was on the ramp. I'm supposed to be there because I'm flying an airplane. I'm supposed to be there. And there was a private jet owned by a rich person. I think it was a government official. And I had my phone recording, and someone came to me, one of his bodyguard came to me and say, "Put away your phone. You're not allowed. Don't record anything." And the guy was so angry with me that he told me, "You're not allowed to record any video of this airplane." And I was, honestly, guys, I was hurt. I was like, what kind of people? But rich, you have your nice private jet, and you don't. So there's some poor folks like myself over by the fence, and the police came to me and said, "Cop, there's some people here who drove all the way from in the community, and they want to come. Is it okay, Cop, if they come and take pictures with you and the airplane?" I said, "By all means." You know why? Rich people would not allow the poor to come and pose beside their airplane. But when you put a poor guy like me with an airplane, I'm never gonna do that to the rich, because I mean the poor, because I know what it feels like to be chased away by rich people with their airplane that they don't want you to capture their plane and have a picture beside it. So shout out to you guys. They follow me. So thank you guys for allowing me the privilege. I'm the one who is privileged to take a photo with these people. So it's not flight related, but man, it's such a sad thing in today's society of how people with money can really treat other people. It's really sad. Anyway, moving on to a more happier note. Yeah, I'm still bothered by what that bodyguard said and treated me on the ramp. Anyway, I still recorded the video. Anyway, I was like, public place, man. Who cares about your feelings? And I sent his tail number to my friend, and we pull up all the details about the plane, the history, everything. Anyway, I can be immaculate sometimes. So we loaded up the patient. This is our last medevac for this mission. She was in a lot of pain, guys, and I have very little tolerance for pain myself. Thankfully, the the nurse on board was able to whip up some pain meds, put it in the IV, and inject it in the line, and that gave her some comfort. He was having a hard time. He said, "Kap, matigas talaga," to fighting to break the head of that thing. But anyway, he got around to it eventually, and he injected it on the patient. And that's why I do priority landing, guys, because when people are in pain and discomfort like that, I make sure that I get the mission done expeditiously, because that's just what it takes to make sure that these people get to where they need to go. So she needed to go out, get some further checkup and evaluation, and I was able to get that mission done. The mission I was telling you with the other mission pilot, other two missionaries. Here's a new missionary pilot that I heard about for a long time. I kept hearing stories about him. We finally got to meet. This is Senor Carlos. All right, Carlos is from South America. He now has the honor and privilege to be here in the Philippines, and he's gonna be the pilot on the R66 helicopter, helping to continue the work that Daniel Louis was doing. So we met there, and I said, "Man, we need to take photo." I said, "I've been hearing about you. He's been hearing about me for a while." And we finally got a chance to hug each other and take a photo. We actually was team flying. We were When I was heading back to base, he was heading in that direction as well to go do some humanitarian flight in Mindoro. Good morning to my brother from Finland. We met during the farm stew training. So that's my farm stew shirt, guys. Shout out to Farm Stew, a recipe for abundant living. I have my farm stew certificate. I successfully completed the trainer trainer of trainees training with Farm Stew. And I love it. I love Farm Stew, Sister Dawn, Sister Kath, Brother Ray, and the rest of the Farm Stew team there. All the teachers. It's a long list. If I start calling their names, I'm not going to remember everybody. So I'm not going to start. But all the teachers who helped me to learn more about how I can effectively help people with the Farm Stew training. Thank you guys so much. Anyway, just wanted to share that with Farm Stew. So that's where I met Max. Max was one of the students. He was my dorm mate and batch mate for the Farm Stew training in February of this year, I believe. Yes, February of this year, we were together. He's gonna go to another training, and they told me, "Hey, you're going back to base? Is it okay if Max tag along with you?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem. There's someone else riding with me, and so I am perfectly okay to help you guys." And Max was on the control, and he did an amazing job, guys. I think he should get his pilot's license. When we get home, you know the treat. Every time you see a bottle of this, we're celebrating something. It's not birthday, anniversary, or whatever. It's life. Whenever missionaries come to my home, guys, I pull out a bottle of champagne. And you know why I do this? Some of you might be wondering, why do I do this? I know what it's like to be in people's home and to be treated insultingly. I've had people not feed me because I'm a missionary. I've had people give me old clothes with cockroach stain and bite from rats. Yeah, I've had people give me old, stained, dirty shoes and clothes because I'm a missionary. So whenever missionaries come to my home of abode, I make them feel like they're in the home of the rich. And I say, you guys are ambassador for Christ. And whatever I can do with a little meal and a gesture to you, I'll do it. So we whipped up some good old vegan food, serve it to these guys, and I say, hey, let's toast to life because you guys are the ambassador of Christ doing mission work. Maintenance time. I was working on the airplane, got the oil change, didn't find any issues. But then later on in the week, it's a double blessing. The plane started giving me some issues, picked up on some leak in some area, and we found out that there's some bolts that was slightly loose, like they didn't have the torque they're supposed to have. And so after I torqued that, checked it again, there was no more issues with the leak. This is coming up on that flight overhead there. And the director came and he fine-tuned the rest of the maintenance for me, the 100 hour. He went in with the camera and he looked on things to double check that the plane is doing what it's supposed to do. He checked some areas that we've been monitoring to see if any corrosion is happening, and we put some LPS3. So good morning to you, Mr. Richard there in Alaska. I hope you got a notification to watch this. Dwayne is faithfully putting that LPS3. Guys, it's gooey stuff. It makes the airplane look so ugly and stained. Sometimes when I even try to wash it, I cannot wash away this LPS3. But he told me, Mr. Richard told me, Mr. Richard Diamond from Alaska, who restored the plane over a year ago, he said, keep that LPS3 on it and you'll never have corrosion issues ever again. So I've been faithfully doing that. Dwayne's doing that, rather. So this is a video where we go inside. It's a baroscope. It's a baroscope. And what he's looking at is what's happening with the exhaust and the intake, exhaust rings and the heads and what's going on the inside. So it's kind of like a colonoscopy where you get into the belly of the thing and you're looking around. And what you're looking for is you're looking for how is the gas being burned? How is the temperature being distributed? Is the cylinder, when you pull the thing, when you rotate the propeller, does it sit in there nicely or does it lob to the left or right? You're looking at the cylinder walls. Can you still see the streaks? Is there any oil leak going on? You look at the plug. It's an interrogation of the engine that we do to make sure that everything is functioning as it's supposed to. So that's Dwayne Harris, President, Chief Pilot, and Chief Mechanic of PAMAS, and taking the time out to get in the airplane and to see things. So I told him on this trip, I said, hey, I've been learning so much about the engine. I said, all the time, Claire Ibanez, go check out his story, the missionary mechanic there in Brooks. He's the one who does my bearings all the time. Ever since I got this airplane in 2022, Clear faithfully every 100 hours, so he will be the one to grease the wheel bearings. I said to Dwayne, please teach me how to do it so I can do it. Because, it's something I can do. Preventative maintenance. Greasing the wheel bearings is preventative maintenance. So that's me at work, guys. And I got it done. I was able to pull it off. Now, the hardest part is safety wiring and getting the cotter pin back into the hole. Man, that thing is a headache. And I remember Kuya Jean said, that's why sometimes CJ would get mad and, because it tests your patience, which is this one right here. It has a hole that you have to put a very thin cotter pin, line it up nicely, make sure the wheel rotate. It was a lot of work, but I was able to do it. So now he did the first side, he did the right side with me, tutorial me and give me the thing, and we did it together. Then I did the other side where he just okay, your turn. Let me see if you can. And guys, executed it. I said, you need to give me an A and P license now. So anyway, I had a lot of fun. I like being a grease monkey. I don't just like to fly the airplane, but I also like to learn how to maintain it. Summary of this week's report, guys. I was able to fly 7 missions, which burned about 300 and something gallons of fuel in 30.5 hours. Out of those 7 missions, only one was a patient, hopeless case going home to die. The rest were patient where had they not flown, they would have had severe medical conditions, some of whom who might have succumbed to their injury, especially the appendicitis patient. If you have appendicitis issue and that thing burst in your body, you're gonna die. Because what happened is it bursts and then it's gonna poison your bloodstream. So out of the 7 missions that I flew, Medivacs, they were all Medivacs. Only one going home to die. The rest were patients who needed the help, especially the 12-year-old boy with that infection happening. After a while, that infection would just spread more and more. The gentleman with his broken arm definitely had to have flown him, or else he will just be there suffering until that broken arm begins to fester and get infected without the treatment that he needs. So, thanks to your partnership, you and I combined together with God's help, we were able to help people who had no other option but to be on that airplane. And that was done in 30 and a half hours flight time. We changed the oil twice here, so about 21 quarts of oil was used. So that's about 2 oil change happened within this report. Burned 300 something gallons of fuel, and we only spent $866 was spent on maintenance and stuff for the airplane. So remember, I'm doing my license, the battery, not the battery, paying for some other things for the airplane that's coming over as we speak. So just $800 was spent, or 49,000 pesos was spent during this report time, which is a 2 week period for the airplane. So that's where your prayers have been going. That's where your money has gone throughout. Let's go over to the Q&A session that we can hear from you guys here. First comment, Ian. Blessings, my brother. Blessings to you, Ian. Wagwan. Ian's from Jamaica, faithfully following me now for a couple of years. Shout out to you, Ian. Morning, morning, morning. Blessings to you. Mark Campbell. Yeah, man, Wagwan. Big boss, long time. You're good. My boss, have a great weekend. God bless. Yeah, man, I'm good, man. These are my Jamaican folks outside of Jamaica shouting out, reaching out. Thank you guys so much. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oral Hasburn says, wait, I don't know why I cannot share Oral's stuff. Oral was saying good morning, so good morning to you, Oral. Shout out to you, Jude, sorry. Good morning, Jude. Shout out to you. Jude wants to be a fighter pilot. He's the son of one of my good buddy brother there from Jamaica, living in Canada. They're watching from YouTube. So good morning, Jude. Shout out to you. Jude, do you have any question about airplane? He likes to talk about airplane, guys. He actually built one from Lego. Yeah. Good morning, Cap. This is Armin Garda. I'm not gonna try and pronounce your last name. I'll get in trouble with you. Good morning, Paul. Good morning. Elaine says, good morning, Elaine Cielo Tumanga. Good morning. Morning to you, Paul. Any questions, guys? It's a Q&A session. Any questions, comments? We're almost finished with our double for the day. I mean, for the report. My phone is not ringing yet, so I still have a little bit more time with you guys, and I need to go eat breakfast and head to church in the next hour from now. Any questions that you guys might have? Any comments? Reach out while you're preparing your question and answer. I'm gonna transition to our music for this week. If you guys might notice that I've been sharing Filipino music. I'm sharing Filipino music with you guys week after week now. So this week is no exception. I like this one, The Gift of a Lifetime. Kuya Romy, he's watching from my personal account. he's the one who keeps me, he helps me with the patrol with parts and if I have any questions. So good morning, Kuya. Shout out to you po. Musta? Okay lang. I'm fine. Mabuti naman po. So shout out to Kuya Romy and shout out to his company there. He helps me with that patrol. Had it not been for him, my patrol would not be what it is. So if I ever get in trouble, Kuya Romy is one of the person that I run to. And I met him through Daniel. Yeah, Daniel introduced me to Kuya Romy. And if ever I can't make it to Manila, he's always more than happy to find the parts for me, ship it to my location. So he's an amazing brother over the years, and I appreciate him very much. Let's take our music, The Gift of a Lifetime. Please pay attention to the lyrics because it really matches what we do together in ministry and missions for the Filipino people.
Before I looked for you, you found me. Before I knew your name, you knew mine. Before I spoke a prayer, your precious gift was there. One I never thought I'd find, the gift of a lifetime. That's what you gave. Your life was an offering, my life to save, turning my song of tears to an anthem of praise for the gift that you gave, the gift of a lifetime. It's more than just your hand of blessing. It's who you are yourself that I need. And with an open heart, I now receive you, Lord, and the life you bring to me, the gift of a lifetime. That's what you gave. Your life was an offering, my life to save, turning my song of tears to an anthem of praise for the gift that you gave, the gift of a lifetime. Into the pain that I thought I could hide, you brought the gift of your very life, the gift of a lifetime. That's what you gave. Your life was an offering, my life to save, turning my song of tears to an anthem of praise for the gift that you gave, the gift that you gave, the gift of a lifetime. That's what you gave. Your life was an offering, my life to save, turning my song of tears to an anthem of praise for the gift that you gave, is a gift of a lifetime.
Harana, 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 harana sa buntagon. Harana sa buntagon. Is that music for the soul? I don't know what buntagon is. Where are my Filipino people? Guys, help me. What does buntagon mean? But I hope that song ministered to your heart as much as it did to mine. I'm gonna pull up the lyrics here. Before I looked for you, you found me. Before I knew your name, you knew mine. Before I spoke a prayer, your precious gift was there. One I never thought I'd find. I like the refrain. I like the refrain, guys. The gift of a lifetime. That's what you gave. Your life was an offering, my life to save, turning my song of tears to an anthem of praise for the gift that you gave, the gift of a lifetime. Guys, that's it. It's a reflection of what Christ has done for us, and because of what he's done for us, then we're able to do these for others. And of course, you know our favorite Bible verse, right? We're going to share that with you shortly. The bridge says, into the pain that I thought I could hide, you brought the gift of your very life. Yeah, the pain that I thought I could hide, you brought the gift um, of your very life. Beautiful song, The Gift of a Lifetime. Whenever you reach out with your financial gift, it's a gift of a lifetime, because had it not been for your partnership in giving financially, that plane would not be able to do what it has been doing over the last 2 years, coming in up on 3 years now that it's been faithfully serving. The engine now has 804 hours. We got it at 5 hours, so we put almost 800 hours on that thing, and it continues to serve the Filipino people. It had some hiccups this week, but we went through it. Dwayne went through it, signed it off. We're back on schedule. As a matter of fact, I'm on call today. If it doesn't happen today, then come tomorrow morning. I'll be heading over to Coolion for a Medivac flight. Please pray for that patient. The patient is going to PGH. Guys, when a patient goes to PGH, if you know anything about the Philippines, the Philippine government hospital located there in Pasay off Buendia Avenue in Manila, it is the worst hospital in the entire country. I have taken a patient there before, and it will break your heart. I mean, I was parked in front. It looked like a marketplace. The sewage was boiling right there in front of the entrance of the hospital over a little grill. You could just watch the sewage boil. There, it stinks, guys. When a patient is going there, the family doesn't have the means. It's their last option to get medical care. So come tomorrow or today. I'm on call for it from between today and tomorrow. Then I'll be helping that patient. Please pray for them. They don't have nothing, and they're going to a place where it's like a marketplace. They're trying to get help for medical care. Anyway, that being said, please keep that mission in your prayers. We're at the end of our feed. I haven't seen any more comments here from you guys or question. I'm just gonna go straight to the prayer. And if ever you're watching this and you have any questions or prayer requests, you can email that to me, and I'm more than happy to respond to you promptly and put your request in my prayer journal. Leave a nice comment below for the donors and their family, please. These are hardworking people who go to work, sacrifice their hard-earned cash that they could have used for themselves and their family and others, but they've chosen to partner with Flying by Faith for the purpose of helping the Filipino people, and also the few foreigners who get themselves in trouble ever so often, and they don't have the means to get the big, nice private jets to come and help them. But we're there to help them as well. Please leave a nice comment below for our donors so they feel special and appreciated. They hear from me. I would love for them to hear from you as well. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this opportunity to come here and share this report, these 7 missions that was successfully done in 30 and a half hours going, Lord. Some days took 6.5 hours to help somebody, but here we are, still alive and well and kicking to continue to help. We thank you that you help us with the issues with the airplane this week, that it's back to flying again. We pray for the fuel situation, that we can get some fuel so we can be more readily available to help more. Lord, we continue to pray for the finances to get another drum of oil from the company so that we can have oil for the airplane. We also pray for those who are waiting for services, especially this patient between today and tomorrow, that you may work things out for their admission there at PGH so they can get the care that they need. We ask that the weather will continue to hold up so we can help the patient promptly. Lord, we pray for the donors and their family who continue to stretch their means to this ministry on a financial level for the Filipino people, and also for occasional foreigners who ask for our help. Lord, there's more area that needs our help, but the government is not yet seen it fit to embrace us. We're praying that we can have access to these areas soon. And we ask that you may send more missionaries and more resources, that we can stretch our efforts and our kindness to other parts of the Philippines. Please bless the donors and their family for what they've given to the work. Continue to inspire them. I pray that their lives will be fulfilled and satisfied to know and see these reports, to know that the lives that they touch, they're priceless. For those who don't have the money to donate, Lord, but they watch, they react, they encourage others to follow, they share some of the content, they leave comments. I pray that as they glean from this experience of inspiration, that they'll be inspired. For those who continue to track the flight each day and to pray for the safety, Lord, please keep them safe, answer their prayers for themselves and for their family and for their friends. Please bless the social media family. And we just ask, Lord, that you'll continue to be with Philippine Adventist Medical Aviation Services, the other pilots, the other helicopters and airplane, and the other bases, that as they do their part in that side of the Philippines, that you'll continue to give them opportunities and bless them with the resources they need to keep serving in this country. We ask, Lord, for your blessings to be with us and give us the Sabbath blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much, guys. Our Bible text, in as much as you have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, you have done it unto me. The Bible says that when we do it to one of the least this week, this report rather covers 7 of the least of these that we were able to help. And if you know anything about 7 is the perfect number, God's perfect number. So on behalf of Philippine Adventist Medical Aviation Services, Davin Bennett, and the Flying by Faith social media family, we just want to say maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat, or in English, thank you so much, everyone, for your partnership, your shareship, your reactionship, your commentship, your followship, your reactionship, whatever ship it is. We thank you for being on board with us, because without you, none of this would be possible. Continue to support, continue to pray, continue to invite others to share the content, to follow the page, and to subscribe, and to be inspired as we touch each hearts with these missions. Don't touch the dial. We have something special for you. So until you hear from me again, mabuhay from the Philippines. Wow, good. One love, everybody. Happy Sabbath. Yeah, man. Good more.